Okay guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do hit the like button and of course hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel, completely free to join. Links in the description to that. You can find that in the description and also at the top of the chat so you can't miss out on the Discords. You can find updates there, chat with other traders, share ideas. I share some ideas there as well, discuss different opportunities. So if you're interested to join a community, make sure you head over, check out the Discord channel. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. Ahmed, good morning. I hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, guys, as always, we'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold, silver, and we'll probably go through some indices as well. Any particular requests, any charts you want me to take a look at, any time frames as well. As always, most time I spend my time on the 4-hour chart and charts in and around that. But if you're a bit more intraday or you want me to take a look at something a bit more higher time frame, let me know. But we'll start with USD, which at the moment is looking pretty bearish. Very strong close on that 4-hour candle, and momentum looks like it's spilling over with the bears at the moment. Potentially, we could be seeing the weakness in the dollar creep into the market and maybe sustain, because I do expect that to be the bigger move in the market. I do think we are likely to continue lower, but I've talked multiple times about still seeing a bit more upside before we do continue. I was hoping and still am looking for a push back into this area here first. Got some nice healthy confluence there. And there potentially we could still see the continuation. Of course, price can continue bearish at any point. It could have been here, just below that level, just above it. So again, trading is not necessarily about predicting. It's just finding areas which make sense to carry out a bias. And if price gets there, gives you your confirmations, getting into those positions and managing them. At the moment, price is looking pretty bearish right now. We are still coming into support, so I don't think, I wouldn't say this momentum is necessarily here to stay, because things can change very, very quickly in the FX markets and markets in general. So we have closed pretty bearish, but directly into support. I know the current candle's looking pretty bearish too and bleeding through, and potentially it might continue and look to go and break support there as well. But I do see evidence that price is going to find support here and turn around. And that will come with wicks, bullish engulfing candles, really momentum shifting, because right now it's very much in favor with the bears. But we still do have these higher lows, 1, 2, 3, looking for a fourth. And if we can find support there, that would be brilliant to carry on that USD strength bias. But of course, the price does break through. I'm not necessarily going to be overly bearish just yet. I mean, it doesn't really allow me to sell the dollar. You know, price is coming back into areas of demand still. This is where our swing low is, which gave us that move to the upside. So even if we do break through this support level, yes, the market, of course, has to be pretty bearish for us to do that. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm looking to short the dollar or necessarily expecting the dollar to get to the low here. That could be the case, but I will find it difficult to find opportunities. Same thing with Euro USD. Euro is looking pretty bullish with that 4-hour candle. It hasn't really done anything in terms of market structure. I said on my weekly analysis, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go to my channel, and it's the most recent upload. But for Euro USD, I said I want to see a push up, because that could potentially give us an opportunity to actually short it, because at this price here, I wouldn't be looking to sell. But here, potentially, if we see some good rejection, same thing for the dollar as well. If the dollar gets to this level and sees some really healthy rejection, I think that could be a really nice double bottom at support, then a really nice buy as well. So we are at some interesting areas for USD pairs in general, and definitely for the DXY as well. We're coming back into this kind of area. If I can see a strong bearish engulfing candle, maybe a nice wick to the upside, that could be a brilliant place to sell. On the other side of the coin, if price was to continue to rally through this and continue that strength, especially to take out this swing high here, because this is of course the high that gave us this move, If price was to continue that momentum and especially take out that high, well, then in that case, I'll be looking for us to continue back to the highs there at 1.156. And maybe a setup like this might present itself in the next few days, and we can discuss that as time progresses. But at the moment, still very much in an interesting place where we can turn around. So I would keep my eyes peeled to see how price reacts with that. Again, that's all traders do. We're seeing what price does, how it reacts, and that will allow us to find opportunities. If price rallies through, well, that changes things. If price respects it, well, then I think short still look good there for euro. But again, looking for a strong rejection to imply that, okay, resistance is holding, price is likely to turn around. Pound USD, same situation here as well. Although I would argue Pound USD is not looking as hopeful for the bears as maybe euro was, because that is a pretty strong counter close above resistance and above the trend line as well. So it would have to be a very strong recovery from the bears for price to regain that territory. Otherwise, this momentum looks like it's probably going to take us back to the highs here, to be honest. I've been pretty bearish for Pound USD, looking for price to return back to support. I've had some areas around 1.3, which I'm looking for price to get to before we do continue bullish. But again, I'm not really looking to buy at these prices. If I expand to the higher time frame, not only has the market already had such a big move, we're trading into massive areas of resistance, supply to our left. So this is just not an area which makes sense for me to be jumping into any long opportunities, especially as a swing trader. Of course, day trading, intraday, scalping, of course, you can buy at these prices, be in and out fairly quickly and grab your profits you're after. As a swing trader who's looking to stay in for at least a couple days, 3 days, and potentially a lot more if I'm looking for a really big swing, this is not the place which I want to be buying into. This is bearish territory where sellers will be sitting to try and drive price lower. So hence why I wanted the price to come further, so it was a more appropriate place for me to buy. But yeah, at the moment, looking very bullish. Probably going to push back to the highs there. There is a world where we push back into highs and form a major double top and come back down again. Us breaking out of that trend line doesn't necessarily mean Pound USD is going to rally now. It does mean that we're probably likely to push back into the highs, but we have to see what develops from then onwards. But yeah, as of right now, pound looking pretty bullish. I would expect us to rally back to highs. I don't see price coming back down anymore. So yeah, it looks like a bullish Pound USD at the moment. Dollar CAD, of course, another USD pair. This one not really seeing as much movement. I think that's because CAD's a bit weak as well. So USD's weak, CAD's weak. Not really seeing much of a dent there in current price action. But the analysis still stands from the weekend. I like the structure here. Really nice resistance, turn into support. I do think that's a great place to be looking for a buy. If we could see some healthy rejection there, I think that's a great place for an entry, a stop loss below the low, and targets just simply back to the high of that resistance, because this might turn into a bit of a range here. So I think naturally targets back at the high makes a load of sense. We could go a lot further. In fact, I still am, but I don't know with this USD weakness, whether we will see that bigger retracement up in afterwards. You can see the major high there, low, high, low. I'm looking for another high to form for another drop. I've talked about this area, which we've just more or less missed. And also this area here as well, which would be a nice place to sell. In fact, that would be my more preferred area because it lines up pretty well with the 50 or the fib there. So some extra confidence for that trade, just a healthy pullback for us to continue. So I am pretty bearish long term with dollar CAD as well. I see it coming back to the lows here. I'm basically looking at this bullish leg here as retracement, but I still want to see a bit more before I do sell. So that's very much been the plan there for dollar CAD. We'll see if we do get that that fulfillment of that plan, because maybe if USD is going to be weak, maybe we just collapse from here, but I don't really see an opportunity for me to take anyway. So I'm just going to have to sit on the sidelines and wait to see how price gets on. But if you're looking to buy dollar CAD, keep an eye on 1.39. Sells, I like 1.405 a lot, and also 1.4152. So those are the areas I'm keeping tabs on for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, not a big fan of the price action at all with this one. Still kind of stuck in that ascending channel there. So just letting price do its thing really. It's done a pretty good job at respecting support there, to be honest. And looks like potentially might rally, especially if USD, of course, is going to be weak. But again, not really interested in the current price action. I'm very, very bullish on Aussie dollar. I think there's a lot more upside to be had. I've talked many times about this big inverse head and shoulder pattern that has sort of formed left head, and I'm looking for that right shoulder to form. And that's essentially where I'm trying to find my entries to take advantage of some buys for Aussie dollar, because I do think there's a lot more upside to be had. I think this is a big V-shaped pattern here. And again, V-shaped patterns are normally very strong reversal patterns. So I'm expecting us to climb a lot higher in the near future. But again, the opportunity to actually trade is the important thing. I don't want to be chasing trades, trying to find entries for something that I think is going to go higher. But at the end of the day, that's not really what trading is about. Not about because I think it's going to go higher. Let me just try to find a buy. It's all about preparation, planning, waiting for appropriate places to buy, to have a stop loss, to target, and waiting for that to actually pan out. And at the moment, I'm still liking 0.625, 0.63 area. This is kind of where I'm looking for some entries. Just playing the waiting game, really. If Aussie dollar will get there at this rate, probably not. But again, I'm not a big fan of the price action anyway. When price is in an ascending channel like that, I tend to stay away because it's normally meaning that the trend is getting tired and potentially we could be looking at reversing. New Zealand dollar, on the other hand, I wouldn't mind potentially nice double bottom here. We do have some structure just below us, resistance, which of course held price pretty well. Then we broke through pretty aggressively. I wouldn't mind if price had a nice deep test at that level and then potentially rally to the upside, because my bias with NZD/USD is the same situation with Aussie. I think there's a lot more upside to be had. Again, really strong V-shaped pattern there. Looking at this as a correction. Now I'm looking at a continuation. So this to me looks like a pullback, and then I'm expecting price to continue flying. So in terms of finding entries for that, well, I'm wanting to see another drive lower, take out this low, come and test support just below us, and then see a reaction based off that. And that's something where I can find myself taking some entries. And of course, looking to target back at the highs there again. That makes sense to me. At current price, just floating in the middle of nowhere right now, so not really interested. But if we can come a little bit further down into the 0.58500 to 50 area, that would be enough for me to start looking for some entries and take NZD/USD higher. In terms of gold, so gold, I'm still looking to see if we can get that follow through to the upside, but it's proving to be difficult for gold. Again, we've got the retest of the high here, prior resistance, price broke through, finally being used as support. We do have this kind of bull flag pattern at play as well, connecting the highs to the lows there. So you can see we came back into a very healthy area of confluence. Price reacted pretty well, nice reaction. I did say coming to the week, a nice double bottom of that would be a great place for some entries. But I would watch out as we come back into the middle of that channel and the upper of the channel as well, because although gold is still very much in a bullish climate, it's still very much in that bullish trend, and it can still very much rally, see new highs and continue where it left off. But on the other side of the coin, gold is still very stretched, and it's pretty likely for a retracement, a pretty big one as well at some point. Potentially this could be the start of it. Of course, we failed at the highs there, so that could be the first sign of that potentially being a bit of a top for gold. That could be, but again, we're not to know. And I think because market hasn't done anything significant in terms of breaking structure or showing any signs of significant bearish momentum, I'll still be pretty bullish with gold, but just cautious as price makes its way back into resistance, and especially into the up end of that channel as well. So I think this is still a smart place for a buy. Nice reaction last week. If you're not in a trade and looking to get involved with gold, then ideally you want price to come back into support, show more signs of rejection to hop into a position. Stops below the low, and I'll probably say first targets around that middle of the channel, which corresponds quite well with resistance here now. And then maybe if things go very well, we swing it to the upper end, and maybe if things go very well, we swing it all the way back to the high. So that's a potential move there for gold, but still bullish for this for that one as well. Then of course you got silver, which same kind of situation as well. I do expect more upside longer term, but just price action has just been horrendous. You can pretty much argue that this is a big range really, so not really interested with the price action with silver, and I've said this for a number of weeks now. I like support here at 31. I like supports here at 29. If price potentially can come and test those levels, maybe I might have a stab. It depends how things look. Silver's not really my favorite pair right now, to be honest. There are other markets which look better, so I'd rather focus my time there. But I do think eventually we will go and take out these highs. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled for buying opportunities. Not really seeing much of one, or a good one at least at the moment. I can see supports holding pretty well here. There might be some nice intraday reactions you can catch there. Price comes back into support, quick buy. That might be a nice trade in like an hourly chart, maybe even 30-minute chart as well. So that could be some short-term plays, but because there's no real trend with silver, I wouldn't look to try and look for any meaningful swings just yet. So yeah, being cautious with silver, price action isn't great. And that's pretty much where I'm at with USD for now. It looks like we're seeing a lot of USD weakness. Is that going to continue? Potentially. I'm still not really looking to sell the dollar right now. It's not really at a place where I want to do that anyway. So if it does continue, probably going to have to miss out on that unless a big retracement comes from somewhere. But we will have to see. Anyway, what was I? The High Elf, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. DT, welcome. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good as well. Past couple weeks, my trades have been going pretty good with the strategy I've been working on. Okay, nice. I think I'm finally getting the rules I need to become profitable. That's great to hear. Again, with profitability, all comes from consistency. Not necessarily consistency in terms of hitting winner after winner, but in terms of having an edge and just applying that edge over and over again, because that edge will have losing streaks and losing spells as well. And that comes with profitability. Just because you're in some drawdown doesn't mean you're not profitable anymore. It just means your edge is going through a bit of a dip. But if you keep applying the edge, and the edge has a positive return, then eventually that drawdown will go away and you'll be back in profit again. So that's the main focus, because you will go through a tough time. I understand that now things are going pretty well, which is great, but that won't last forever. There will be times where you will probably hit some losing streaks, and the key point there is keep doing what you were doing. Keep following that plan, and that's really the difficult part of trading, because when things are going well, trading is great, but when things are not going well, that's when people deviate from their plans and up risk and do whatever. So that is great, but just keep doing what you're doing. That's my biggest advice. Cease integrated, hope you're well. Based on my 4-hour DXY trend line, the support 100.15. I'm waiting for that 100.15 and enter a small first position buy. Okay. I'll have a look at that. What's up, Cease integrated? Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm still kind of looking at that support level for the dollar. I'm debating whether price is gonna smash straight through that, or are we gonna have a bit of a bounce? So far, I'm still pretty bullish because it is still support at the end of the day, and price hasn't broken through the level. So I'm not gonna, of course, anticipate a breakout until the breakout has actually happened. But I'm still at least short-term, medium-term bullish on the dollar. Long-term, I still think low prices are likely with USD. But as I've been saying, this is kind of the area which I want price to retrace into before I begin selling the dollar again. We've had a lovely bearish leg the past few weeks. If we can correct that, maybe somewhere near halfway, that would be nice. And then we can probably expect price to keep falling. I think shorts from here are just a little bit too early for my liking, and not really giving me much of an opportunity to enter a trade anyway. So as we continue with this bullish structure, I'm still looking for potentially another bounce, another higher low for a push up. So that's really my thinking with the dollar. You said a 100.15, which is about here-ish, in line with the support there. So yeah, roughly the same area, to be honest. if we can see some heavy rejection there, I think it's a nice place for a buy. Just need to see that reaction, that momentum come in. Ahmed, pound CAD, pound Aussie. Okay, we'll take a look. I'm currently in a short in pound Aussie. Pound's been pretty strong though this morning, I think. Yeah, I think pound's been pretty strong. I'll go through pound CAD, pound Aussie, Thabs, NAS, US30, no problem. We'll take a look. Lebsy, what is up? Hope you're well. Aussie CAD, sure thing. Have a bearish bias for the week. Looking for shorts. Okay, cool. We'll take a look. What's up, Ben? Hope you're doing well. GU been grinding up. Yep, against the 1.34 levels. Looks like it's going to fly if it breaks. What do you think? Yeah, I think pound's looking pretty bullish right now. I think pound itself was looking bullish. Of course, USD being weak has definitely helped that. But since we've broken through that trend line, I find it difficult to see shorts for pound USD. Because not only have we cleared resistance there, we've also broken through the trend line. This is massive resistance. I'm not too sure if I can bank on price breaking through that just yet, because I can definitely see a world where pound USD pushes up to resistance to come back down again. Just because looking to the left, it's still a major high. It could break, but again, it's nothing I'm going to bank on, to be honest. It's nothing I'm going to bank on. So yeah, looking very bullish now. We probably will see a swing back to resistance there, but then I'm going to have to reanalyze and see where we go from there, because we could come straight back down for pound. And of course, it depends a lot on USD too. If USD is going to keep up that weakness, or you're going to turn around. Anyway, I'll go through pound CAD, pound Aussie. Oh yeah, of course. If it breaks the highs there, it looks very bullish, especially if it breaks it with a lot of momentum too, and USD is looking pretty weak at the time as well. Then yeah, we could easily see another swing to the upside for pound. Yeah, if it does break the highs, then we could be seeing price run away with it a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, pound I think is quite strong this morning anyway. Yeah, pound CAD breaking to the upside there quite aggressively. I was actually debating looking for sells for pound CAD last week, but I decided to get into pound Aussie. Wasn't looking as good as that pair. But it looks like price is clearing resistance here, and looks like it's potentially trying to clear some resistance there on the left as well. So at this rate, it looks like pound CAD is probably going to get back to highs. I've been pretty bearish from pound CAD, looking for potentially a lower high to form and a push down, because the market's been quite oversold. We've taken out some major highs from 2018 there. So I'm looking for a pullback, but it looks like now we'll probably get price rally through the highs again. Maybe the next leg is what gives us the rollover, but the market's still very much in a bullish trend. So at this point, it looks like the trend is going to continue and push back into highs and probably break through them as well. Because if we're going to get to highs, probably going to spike through them. We could turn around from there as well, of course. But I probably expect price to spike through that. There'll be a lot of liquidity above there. I reckon we will do that, even if we are going to turn around. But yeah, at the moment, pound CAD looking very bullish. I think if you can drop to a more intraday time frame, like maybe an hourly or a 30-minute time frame, some pullbacks and some retests is probably a good play to look at. Retest of the high here. If price can come back, retest that. I think that's a great place for a higher low to form, as price has been doing it. And now that we're finally seeing some momentum, because we were looking very corrective here on the left, which is why I didn't want to see if price was going to break to the upside, because if we're moving correctively like this, it normally does mean price is going to roll over. Not all the time, of course, but now that momentum's picked up and we're looking pretty bullish, well, the break and retest does look somewhat attractive there, especially if you can find some nice refined entries. Could be looking at a pretty big swing back into resistance at 1.874. So yeah, I would say pound CAD is looking very bullish here, and I won't be surprised if price does keep pushing. Pound Aussie, I am in a short with this one. Have seen some pound strength, so it has put me in some drawdown, but we're still holding on to the main resistance, so we're going to see how that goes. The last 4-hour candle did leave a nice wick into the high there, so it's a bit of a bonus there, but of course, there's a lot to do if price is still going to roll over from this level. But the main expectation with myself with pound Aussie is that we are forming these lower highs, and I'm basically looking to try and continue them. If price can continue to sell off, create some new lows, the fact that pound Aussie again has had a really lovely rally to the upside, but we are struggling at the highs here from COVID in 2020. I do think we can go for a bit of a retracement. So I'm looking to see if I can take advantage of that, potentially catch one of those lower highs and look to swing at least back into support at 2.0497, but preferably a little bit further. I'm looking at the high here. That was a pretty big swing high. I think there is a good chance we do come back to test that as support. But for now, pound CAD still respecting resistance. So if you're looking for entries for this one, I would, if I wasn't in a trade, I would wait for price to now give me some momentum. And that could be another entry signal for pound Aussie at resistance there. Of course, stops above the high. And then, initially maybe first target at support there, maybe second target there. But that'll be up to your preference. But pound Aussie, I'm still bearish. As long as we maintain resistance there, I stay bearish. If price does break through that, well, then things get a bit interesting. Not necessarily until we take up the high would I completely change my bias, because we might just have a bigger pullback than I anticipated. We might, still do the same thing, but just higher up. If price was to rally and take up the high there, then I'll stand corrected. And at that point, maybe we do push back to highs. Maybe the trend just does continue at that point. So, if the highs here get taken out, then price is looking very, very bullish at that point. But we'll see if resistance can hold there, 2.078. And if so, could be looking at a nice swing. In terms of Aussie CAD, I haven't actually really been looking too much at Aussie CAD. I've not really been too focused with the pair. I like New Zealand CAD a lot more. So that's kind of where my focus is at the moment. I'll go through New Zealand CAD shortly. But I would say Aussie CAD is coming back into some bearish territory right now. This area as a whole pretty much is where we had that massive sell-off to the downside a few weeks back. So overall, this is definitely bearish territory. I'm not the biggest fan of the shorts. It depends how long you're looking to take it. Lebs, are you looking for a big swing, or are you looking for a swing for a day? Because that makes a whole load of difference. Bearish price for the week for it, looking for shorts at 0.9. So if you're just looking for the week, so maybe a few days, I think that makes sense. I'm not optimistic about another swing and trend continuation back to the lows. Not with the way price has kind of reversed momentum there. This is a very, very big sell, and for price just to suddenly erase that quite quickly, not as quickly as some other pairs, but quite quickly, doesn't make me that optimistic about a big continuation. Something like this, though, I do think can happen, because that could give us a pullback for price to see a higher low and then continue higher, because we are a little bit stretched now, we are a little bit fatigued, moving in that ascending channel. I do think price can have a bit of a push down. So I do like the idea there. If it was me looking to trade not pound CAD, Aussie CAD, I would wait for another push back into resistance there, because that's ideally where I'd like to have a stop loss, to be honest, for the trade. 0.9, nice psychological level, but I wouldn't really want to be finding entries there, knowing that there's a possibility price might rally back to highs first before the push down. So I'd rather price makes that rally, rejects the high well, I can get stop loss above the high and then take the trade. And I would be quite skeptical of this trend line here as well, because we are pretty consistent with these high lows. And there's a chance price does another one and then other profits disappear and potentially we continue higher. So I would watch out for that kind of trend line. That could be a first take profit potentially, or stop loss to break even, or however you want to manage it. But definitely something to take into consideration for Aussie CAD there. But nice place for a short. Definitely where a lot of momentum is. We're very corrective on the way there as well, which is definitely a bonus for the sellers. So I think shorts do look good, but I would wait for price to get back to highs there, reject that well. If things look good, then I think the shorts look good. And that potentially could last the rest of the week, to be honest there. So, and maybe targets beyond that. You might look at the low here, the low there, maybe the low here as well. But that's about it. I probably wouldn't try and push the trade further than the low there. I mean, that would be a great trade in itself even. So, Aussie CAD, I like the shorts, nice and corrective into the supply resistance area. So it makes sense for the shorts, but I'm not expecting a big move for it. Looks like it's going to fly 400 pips if it breaks resistance. Potentially 400 pips. That's a huge move, Ben. Where are you looking for price to go? Let me go to the weekly chart. 400 pips. I mean, I do have a long-term bias, which is bullish for pound. I'm looking at 1.4. But even for that, I do think price might have a big pullback before that. Okay, 400 pips, you're looking at 1.38 roughly. So resistance there. Nope, a little bit higher up. But yeah, I mean, that's actually similar to where I'm expecting price to get to as well. I wouldn't be so... I mean, I do expect us to get there, but price can very much break the high and then go for a bit of a pullback and then make the move as well. Just because we break the high, I wouldn't necessarily bank on price just continuing to the upside, especially with the way price is moving as well. If it was like a consolidation, like price was doing this at the high there, then yeah. If it does break, then yeah, I would expect 1.38 because we've had that kind of build up, and then price kind of having that explosion to the upside. Because we already had such a big move, even if you do take highs out, yes, we very much could continue back to 1.38, but I would still be wary of that bigger pullback happening before the 1.38, 1.39, 1.4 area. I still think the market is a bit stretched and a bit overextended, so even if you do take resistance out, yes, the market will be looking very bullish at that point. But I wouldn't ignore the fact that we still very much could go through that retracement before continuing. But yeah, if it does stay above that level, let's say if we break and retest it and stays above, then yeah, we could very much rally to 1.38 there. And I think eventually price will get there as well. So I'm definitely agreeing with that kind of outlook. But to be honest, unless I see a healthy retracement, I'm not really looking to buy pound USD. Like I said, I think the market's a bit too stretched for me. So I do need that bigger pullback for me to actually find some buys. But yeah, it's looking very, very bullish at the moment right now. Looks like it's going to push into resistance in no time. So yeah, hopefully that made sense with Aussie CAD and pound USD. DT, I normally keep my risk small so that if the market says no, then it says no, and I still keep my head, if you get what I'm saying. Of course, I definitely get what you're saying, DT. What's up, Yusuf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. And yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing, because if you keep your risk small, it allows you to stay in the game for the long run. Because even if you go through, a hefty drawdown, if your risk is small, you can still very much stomach that. And get through that. If your risk is even medium size, a big drawdown could be very, very big. A lose streak could be very, very detrimental to your trading account. So keeping the risk small keeps you alive longer. Of course, you would argue that if your risk is very small, you won't grow your account that quickly. But again, especially with trading in the beginning and finding consistency, finding your rhythm, finding your profitability. Trading is not about making money in the beginning. It's about finding that consistency and finding your edge. You can always scale in the future, and keeping your risk medium or big, especially in the beginning, is just going to give you more setbacks than you need. Trading is difficult as it is, and if you have if you're betting big for every trade, it just puts you under more stress, more emotional pain. Even when you win as well, if you bet big and you win big, that will get to your head too, and you'll probably do it again, but then you'll probably lose all your profits the next trade. So even when it does pay off, in the long run, it probably doesn't. So yeah, keeping your risk small is crucial. And that way you can focus on your trades rather than the results. Because at the end of the day, if your trades are good, the results will eventually be good as well. So yeah, I 100% agree, and keep at it, DT. Still no trade for you? Well, the week just started, Yusuf. The week has just started. It's not even midday on Monday yet. Well, at least here in the UK. The week has just started. Don't be too concerned about no trade just yet. The week has just started, and even if you don't get a trade throughout the whole week as well, that shows a lot of discipline, a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of understanding and confidence in your trading style and your setup. If you can wait a whole week and not take a trade as well, of course, it would be pretty boring. But sometimes I don't take a trade for the whole week either. If nothing sets up right, I'll be wasting my time and my efforts and my resources if I go and take a trade that doesn't warrant me taking it, especially if you're going to trade in slightly higher time frames as well. Obviously, if the market lines my bias, then I'll be looking to exit 0.88. Okay, we'll see how it pans out. No problem. Happy to help. Where is 0.88? Okay, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think that's a good target as well. I personally wouldn't try and push trade further than that, but of course, I don't want to talk people into doing stuff and out of stuff. I always just want to give my advice and my thoughts on something, because I don't want people just, okay, Miko said this, so let me just sell. Because at the end of the day, you're not learning anything. You want to become the asset yourself. And I don't want to tell people what to do. If I give advice or say something in terms of, okay, I would do this, I'd always give a reason why I would do that. And it's up to you if you want to follow that, use a bit of that, or ignore it if you want to as well. But I don't want to say take this trade, take that trade, because you're not gonna develop from that. So yeah, always rely on your judgment and journal as well, because then you can look back and see, okay, maybe my judgment was flawed here, or maybe I should have done this or should have done that, and that's where your progression will be. But happy to help. Yusuf, Euro, GU, GJ Gold. I'm assuming on the 15-minute time frame, Yusuf. But yeah, sure thing. True. Low trade is better than losing trade. Very, very true. Go play for demo account for impulse control. Yeah, good point. It'll take the itch off. Yeah, I fully agree with that as well. No trade is better than a losing trade. At least keep your gains in your account. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was UC Integrated, but someone else said that they had a demo account that they sometimes trade on to stop them, doing any kind of stupid trades on their live account, which I think makes perfect sense as well. Because sometimes even I as well, I see some opportunities which are not in line with my plan whatsoever, but I just have like an instinct that, okay, I think price is going to do this. It's nothing derived from a plan. It's just an instinct, really. And then it can be sometimes tempting to take that trade. It's like, I think price is going to do this, so why shouldn't I buy it? And that could be where demo account comes in. Go trade on the demo account. Maybe there is some use with what you spotted, but you don't want to just go and put that in a live account just because you feel like it. Trading is definitely not an emotional game. But yeah, Euro on the 15, I would imagine looking very, very bullish. It is indeed. So it's in an interesting area on the 15. It's just about spiking through the high here. So yeah, we're looking very, very bullish right now. I mean, I could argue that there could be some nice shorting opportunities if we do see price start to sell off, maybe show strong shift in momentum. I think that would be a really nice space for a sell. And targets, highs here, highs there, potentially that area there as well. That could be a nice target for the trade. But of course, the main thing is strong rejection here. We are slowing down, which is what I like, but we do need to get back underneath the high here and start to really show some momentum. If price continues to rally, then Euro is looking very, very bullish at that point. And I wouldn't be looking to short it or buy it either. At that point, if we do continue to rally, I'd wait for some type of structure to form, and then I can maybe plot a break and retest somewhere later on, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, I wouldn't mind this type of opportunity there for Euro. It's very, very bullish right now. If you're just going to break highs and continue, well, then that's the best kind of buy setup I could possibly see. But again, that probably at least take 24 hours to shape up, if that is going to shape up. If we are going to sell, then it is a great place to be shorting from right at the highs. Yeah, nice stop loss above the high there too, but momentum really needs to come in as well. So that's really what I'll be keeping an eye for Euro. Pound USD, I'd imagine that's looking very bullish on the 15 as well. Yep, very, very bullish. Potentially, you could argue there's some opportunities already for some retests of the high here. I probably would drop to the 5-minute to actually trade that, to be honest. Just to really refine the entry and maximize my risk to reward. I think if I can drop to the 5-minute, find a retest there, that could actually be a decent trade actually, back to highs. Maybe even further as well. There's a lot of momentum in the market right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we spill back into resistance. There is a high here on the left. I think that could be a nice target for the lower time frames actually. So yeah, from a 15-minute / 5-minute point of view, very, very bullish here for pound USD because we completely broke through the high there to the left. So that's completely out the picture now. So I would suggest pullbacks, retest, and more upside is likely. In terms of GJ, I haven't actually gone through any of the yen pairs yet. I'll go do that soon. Still think there's some upside for them. GJ, okay, so we finally got the move to the upside. We finally got the break of structure, and GJ's finally looking a little bit bullish because last week I was talking about some buys for GJ and the 15 in terms of waiting for price to break structure, then looking for some retests. We finally got that. I'm not too sure if I'll be looking for a retest of the high just yet. I think it's a little bit too early for that. I like the area down here if GJ was to have a pretty big retracement. Not too sure if that's the case, but if we are able to come back to this area, I think that's a smart place for a buy. If we can rally a little bit further, see some more momentum, then this area becomes something that would interest me. But for now, I would say this is the only area that does interest me with the current price action and how everything is looking so far. But if we can push up a little bit higher, create a bit more distance between current price and that resistance, then yeah, a break and retest there could look good. Because essentially what I'm looking at for pound yen is that prices had a push down, forming a low. Now it's broken structure. Now we possibly might see a bit of an uptrend form. So the idea is, can we take advantage of that uptrend with some pullbacks and break and retest? And these are the opportunities which potentially could allow us to take advantage of that, especially on the higher time frames where I think we're coming into some nicer areas of demand where we could see price rally. So yeah, I do think pound yen looks pretty good for some buys. Gold on the 15. Let me just clear price there so you can see it a bit clearer. I think gold on the 50 actually looks good for potentially a breakout of resistance here, because we're getting these higher lows, 1, 2, 3. Potentially might see price going clear resistance, and some retest after that could actually be a nice little buy there actually. So because it looks like we haven't broken structure yet, but it looks like we're gearing up for that. A nice smooth break to the upside, pullbacks after, I think would be a nice buy. Basically just continuing the higher lows. So gold will be pretty bullish on. I think there's more upside to be had. I would wait for resistance to clear, then some retests afterwards so we can base a trade from that. Pound USD, Euro both look bullish if they can continue a bit further, especially Euro. Pullbacks look really good there. Pound on the 5-minute looks good. And pound yen, basically pullbacks and then some more buys there look good as well. So yeah, from a 50-minute perspective, pretty much all the markets we looked at looking very, very bullish. Yeah, when charts are in the middle of nowhere, just use demo. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You only want to be taking trades that look very, very good and meet your plan well. Not every trade is going to play out, of course, which is why it's important to actually make sure you put everything in your favor that you can do when you do take a trade. But yeah, anything else, lower quality, anything where you kind of in and are, and you're like, should I take this trade? Should I not take this trade? You can chuck that in a demo or just journal it somewhere. Because especially if you're not confident in a position, most of the time when that position, let's say if it goes into a bit of profit, then it starts to pull back against you, because you're never confident in the position initially, you're probably not going to be confident to manage the position well as well. So you probably won't hold out to take profit. You might close the trade a bit early in drawdown. That could very much happen as well. Lebsy, yeah, of course, definitely not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But yeah, just sharing my perspective. Okay, good to hear, good to hear. When you're holding trades, do you find it always occupies a bit of space in your mind, or are you able to completely forget about it until your alerts go off? Good question. I would say now I can completely forget about it, to be honest. Again, I'm not betting huge amounts of my account. It's very, very small amounts of my account. So even if I was to go and lose 10 trades in a row, my account's still looking pretty healthy. Of course, don't get me wrong, losing 10 trades in a row is it's going to have some effect on your confidence, 100%. But in terms of my longevity in the game, yeah, I'm very confident that that's still going to continue. So I'm never really worried about a position. And to be honest, I've actually worked on that to actually forget about trades, because I'm a bit more of a swing trader. So my positions will last, if they do well, anywhere between a few days to potentially even a few weeks as well. I think my Aussie CHF trade early this year was well over a month. So yeah, I try to forget about my positions. Of course, there might be a little, they might occupy a little space in my mind, but yeah, if I'm doing something else, if I'm relaxing or talking to other people or doing something other than looking at my screens, yeah, I completely forget about it, to be honest, because I have everything safe. I have my stop loss on. If I have a take profit for the position, I have that on as well. I have alerts set where I need to go break even, so I'll get a notification on my phone if I do need to trail stops. So there's nothing really for me to do in terms of watching the market. So I try to forget pretty much all about the trades, and I've noticed that I'm just in a better mood, to be honest, when that's the case. When I'm not thinking about my trades, I'm just in a better mood altogether. If you're day trading and you're in and out within the same day, then you probably want to be a bit more hands-on with your trades, especially scalping, of course. But I would argue if you're a swing trader, I would say forgetting about positions is a pretty important aspect, to be honest. Because if you're watching a position, especially if you're trading the 4-hour chart and you're looking back every 5 minutes, like that's going to drive you up the wall. If you're trading like the 15, then yeah, you're probably going to be watching that trade regularly. And yeah, that's just the case. Yeah, exactly. If risk is managed, there's no need to think about it, because that's the only thing to think about. And of course, taking your profits as well. But if that is managed and can be fairly mechanical as well, then there is and staying away from your trades, not watching them, is actually a bit of a blessing, to be honest. Person enter trades on the 4-hour, then zoom down to the one. Zoom down to the 1 minute. See, that's the type of stuff that if I met someone like that in real life, I need to stay well away from them. I don't trust people that enter on the 4 hour and drop to the hourly. They're and drop to the 1 minute. They're dangerous people. Dangerous. They should be locked away. Yes, I was feeling like a trade in crypto and live, but I beat myself to demo, and honestly, I was happy I did that because it didn't play out. Yeah, I mean that's the idea there, Yusuf. Well done on that. I'm watching live from Ghana. What's up, Kojo? Hope you're doing well. What's up, Ivan? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ivan, Euro Aussie buy, dollar seat chef buy. Euro Aussie, I'm actually pretty not really. I'm pretty bearish on that one. I'm looking for more retracement. I understand that the trend is still very much up, but I'm looking for a push up for a push down, basically. So maybe short term, I'm actually still bullish, but I do think long term, price can have a pretty big move down. So I'm looking to see, shit the mic there. I'm looking to see if we can get to around 1.77, and then maybe from there we can find resistance to sell. Because I'm not keen on following this trend anymore. I do think we can see a bit. I mean, I say not anymore. I think the market can still push up, but I'm just looking basically for a deeper pullback because we've had this very exaggerated move, almost similar to what we had in COVID, and that had a very big turnaround. If price is going to go back to highs here, which very much still could be the case, I do think price can have a bit more of a retracement before we do push on. So yeah, I do think upside is on the cards, but I'm not really looking to take advantage of those buys. I'm more interested in potentially another sell. Maybe price is going to turn around and push to the upside and then continue. If that's the case, I actually will start looking for some buying opportunities here to potentially take advantage of that reversal. Maybe not the whole thing, but maybe a decent chunk of it. But I'm just not quite keen on buying the market right now. This is still kind of bearish area for me. When we come back down to maybe 1.71, 1.7, then yeah, I can discuss some buys from there. Yeah, I mean, you can do that as well, Yusuf. Use it as a confidence for a position. Euros interesting would buy from 1.745 where price would retest 1 hour trend line and minus support. Okay. Let me see. Is that or is it like that? Not too sure which trend line you're looking at. But you said 1.745, which is here. Yeah, I'm not too sure what trend line you're looking at, to be honest. Has the trend line already broken, or is it yet to break? I mean, again, with my 2 pence in terms of Euro Aussie, I do think we can see more upside, but I'm just finding it difficult for a buy because we are coming back into supply where momentum came from previously. We consolidated here and had a pretty big drop, and now price is trading back into that area. So I don't think it's the best place for a buy anyway. Doesn't mean we can't rally through. Of course we can. Anything can happen there. But if I was going to pick up a long for Euro Aussie, ideally, I already want to be in the trade or looking for price to come lower to then pick it back up, which is essentially what I'll be waiting for at the moment. But not at current price. Still look for buyers when price broke 4-hour lower high, 13th of May. Okay, here. Okay. Okay, I see. Okay, so you're deeming that as the break of structure. Yeah, I mean, I can see the logic with that as well. Personally, I would allocate this high as the last swing high, because it's more of a major high that form. Doesn't mean that that isn't structure as well. That is structure as well. I probably would look at that more on the hourly chart than the full hour. I try to focus on the major swings to allocate swing highs and swing lows and look for break of structures. But yeah, technically speaking, that is a break of structure, and that could entice us with some more upside as well. But that's kind of where I would put my high from. So that's kind of where I'd focus my attention for Euro Aussie. So if price can rally through that, that would be pretty pivotal. But even with that, I'll be looking at sales at resistance just above us there as well. But yeah, I mean, that is technically a break structure, and it could give us more upside there. Oh, bullish on the hourly chart. Okay. So something like this. Yeah, I mean, that could give us more retracement. Personally, like I said, I'm more fixated on this area for a short. If we can get there, great, because of course, if we have to get there, we have to buy anyway. So that would be nice. But my kind of swing bias, those are the areas which I think look good. Retesting major resistance back here. Not necessarily major resistance, major support, sorry. Not necessarily major resistance up there, but I think that is a significant level. And if things look good, I think that's definitely a place where price could get another lower high and swing back down again. But yeah, that's kind of my take on Euro Aussie for now. Looking at a bit more downside for some buys later on, but we'll see how price progresses. And yeah, if I'm going to sell it from there, then of course price does need to push up as well. Dollar CHF though, I do really like. I do really like dollar CHF. I'm just a bit skeptical whether USD weakness is really coming to town and we are just going to see dollar CHF just drop, or are we going to get that bigger retracement? Because looking at dollar CHF, especially from a monthly chart, I do think there's still a lot more downside for this one to give. I'm looking at this monthly support here at 0.78. As I zoom out, you can see this is the monthly chart for dollar CHF. So pretty much the entirety of dollar CHF's price action is very much just a bearish trend. And I would expect us just to come back into test support, especially with the way we closed last month. For April, very, very bearish, cleared support there as well. I do think we do just continue. So the plan this month, you could say, was looking for some pullbacks or some more downside. It looks to be that this support level is holding as resistance. I think if this week's candle can close bearish, that would be a strong signal to tell me that, okay, this support is holding and potentially you might see price continue from there. I was always looking for a deeper pullback before price continues. I was looking at this low over here. I was looking at this low over there, simply because the market's already had such a big drop. So I wanted to see some healthy retracement back into the 0.5, 0.618. You know, those are healthy areas, healthy retracements for dollar CHF before maybe we continue. But of course, that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes the market is just going to keep that pressure up and maybe see a shallow pullback and then continue. That could be the case here with dollar CHF right now. So in terms of what I'm looking at, I mean, I'm looking at this level here if we can see that rally. But if I don't, then in terms of opportunities, I'll be looking at something like this. Somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. You got your left over here, you got your head, and then your right shoulder. I want to see a strong move down, preferably at least testing support. It would be nice if we were to pinch it slightly, then pull back, but at least come back and test support. And then, yeah, looking for the retest, because this has proven to be a pretty sturdy level of support and resistance in recent times. Resistance once, twice, third time there briefly. Of course, we had the breakout. Then we tested it twice pretty well there too. So it's been a lot of focus with this level lately at 0.832. So should we see a clean break, I think there's a good chance we can use it again as resistance, and that could give us the swing back into the lows and then potentially 0.788 down there as well. So dollar CHF very, very bearish at, very, very bearish on. I've got levels higher up which look great for sales, but at this point I doubt the likeliness of us getting there. Of course, the DXY is going to play a big part in all of this. If DXY decides it wants to keep falling, then there's not much I can do there. It's looking pretty bearish right now. So I wonder if that does keep falling. That'll, of course, drag dollar CHF with it. And yeah, I might have to be looking for that head and shoulder pattern. But yeah, my expectation for the dollar has always been a big sell. I've just been wanting more upside in terms of the retracement. And we have seen some nice bullish structure. And that hasn't ended just yet. Although we're looking very bearish right now, things can change pretty quickly. If this is still the low that gave us the swing, price might be looking at a deeper retracement into consolidation down here before we turn around. So that could be a situation as well. So I'm definitely not going to rule out the buys just yet for the dollar. And I'm not going to be looking to sell it either, because yes, the dollar might continue being bearish and continue back to lows, but how can I get into that trade, especially on the time frames I trade, especially with the style that I trade as well? I don't really look to sell with momentum. I kind of look to sell into momentum. I want price to rally, and then I take it back down from resistance or from support. Never really look to take breakouts either, so there's no real opportunity for me to even sell the dollar. Anyway, this is bullish territory. If we're going to buy, we're going to buy. If we're going to sell, we're going to sell. I'm just now studying price, seeing how we're reacting, if the buy still makes sense or if they don't. But yeah, that's really my take now for USD. Then I would buy at major area of interest on the W and then sell. Okay. Again, looks like you got a good thought process and plan there for your setup on that trade, and that's all that matters. You know, if you're going to have that same consistency, that same approach, that is the plan. What's up, in Conteco? Hope you're doing good. Aussie CAD. What's your analysis? Okay, I'll go through that. S&P as well. No problemo. We'll go and take a look see as well. What's up, Lighton? Hope you're well. Really miss setups, little work being on my neck. We'll be joining next week. No problem, man. Good to see you on the stream though. Hopefully work will take it easy on you. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie CAD quickly, and then we'll go through. I was supposed to go through the indices. I was supposed to go through the yen pairs as well. I need to go take a look at the yen pairs. I haven't actually gone through them yet. But yeah, we'll go through Aussie CAD and S&P. If I have missed out a pair, let me know. Sometimes I say I'm going to do a chart and then just completely forget about it. If someone did request a chart which I haven't looked at yet, just remind me if that's the case. But yeah, for Aussie CAD, I think sales actually still look good for this one, but just keep it short term or medium term. I'm not looking for a massive swing. The reason why I think sales look good is because, again, this is the high that gave us this drive lower. So as we approach these areas, these are naturally areas which you'll be looking for a sell. It doesn't mean you have to be looking for the home run back to lows. That could be the case, but judging the way price is moving, I doubt it. But I still do think it can provide some nice selling opportunities. I talked about another rally back to the highs there. I think that's a great place to be looking for a short. If price can get back to resistance, respect it well, stop loss above the high. I think that's a smart place to be shorting the market. And then, yeah, we've got the trend line, which price has been pretty consistent with. 1, 2, 3. I think this will naturally be a fourth, potentially there. So that would be a great area to lock in some gains, trade a stop loss, partials, even get out of the trade completely if you want. That would be up to you, of course, but I think that's an area which you want to keep an eye on. As a whole, though, I do think Aussie CAD has a bit of a relief to it because we've been very, very corrective. I do think we can have a bit of a pullback, but I do think the bigger move is probably still going to be to the upside as well. I don't see us continuing to the downside. So Aussie CAD, that's kind of what my vibe is right now with it. But again, still very much in seller's territory. If we react resistance well, I would suggest some shorts. So that's kind of what my take is on Aussie CAD for now. In terms of the S&P, last time I had a look at this one, we were looking very, very bullish. Is that still the case? For the most part, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if we're just going to be heading back to the all-time highs now. So I would suggest for the S&P, just be looking at those pullbacks and buying this up, really. We have become a little bit corrective, I suppose, as we come into this area here, and rightly so. I think the market does need its pullback. I think I would be looking at a deeper retracement now, back into this high, back into this area here. There's still a nice gap there, which potentially could be looked to be filled, to be honest. So maybe you can go through a bit of a sell-off, either retest that high or come back and fill the gap and then continue. But in terms of the expectations, in terms of the plan for the S&P, since we've got back above the 200 moving average on the daily, we broke structure very well to the left there. I find it very difficult to see price not getting back to the all-time highs now. So yeah, very, very bullish on the S&P. Pullbacks look good. Judging how correct we are, it looks like we probably will get a deeper retracement now. Looks like we are already starting to kind of break through this channel here a little bit. So maybe that could be on the cards pretty soon. But I like the retest of the high. I like the retest of this area. Potentially a fill of the gap there as well. And risk reward looks pretty good. Even though just a swing back to the high here looks pretty good. But longer term, I do think we can get back to the highs at 6,100. So very, very bullish for the S&P. I do think price is set to fly. We'll go through some of the yen pairs, and then I'll probably go and take a look at some of the crosses and maybe even finish off some of the indices as well. But yeah, very, very bullish here for S&P. In terms of the yen pairs, so I do think we can see some upside for the yen pairs. I do have 2 yen pairs on my watch list, and actually I'll go through them first. Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. Both of these pairs I have on the watch list because I do think that we can see price really rally. I think Aussie and NZD are likely to be strong, and I also think yen is likely to be weak. So again, if that's going to be the case, then we should push up. But in terms of New Zealand yen, this one I like probably a little bit better, but I'm not too sure if I'll get the setup. I think Aussie yen is not as good, but it's still good. But I think I'm more likely to get the setup I'm looking for there. Basically, the setup I want to see with New Zealand yen is a push back into this support level roughly for some buys back into resistance. Basically looking at an inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. Price being very corrective on the way up, but it has managed to break structure. I do think since we've already had a big sell in recent weeks, months, I do think we can have a bit of a continuation to the upside. So really, I'm looking for price to come back into this support level here. Not too sure if we'll see that, but I do like the buys. I might entertain maybe a double bottom here if things look good. I might entertain that, and then the rally to the upside. So that could interest me, but ideally I would like to see a slightly deeper correction into this area and then look to ride it back to highs from there. The targets are still the same with both ideas. That is what I'm looking at. So I would say Aussie yen longs and New Zealand yen longs are my two setups which I'm really paying attention to this week and at the top of my list right now. I will take a look at the DAX, Kojo. I'll just go through Aussie yen as well now. I'll take a look at the DAX and probably go for US 30 as well, actually. Yeah, so New Zealand yen just waiting for one of these two setups to form. Like I said, preferred opportunity, but things look good here. I don't mind having a stab there, potentially taking a loss to get back into the win. If it does play out, the risk to reward looks pretty good on both positions, so I should be able to make the loss back and a lot more after as well. But yeah, New Zealand yen buys look really good. Aussie yen, pretty much the same setup, but like I said, I feel like Aussie yen is just at a has a greater chance to get back into this support level here. So again, left head, right shoulder, push back into resistance and possibly beyond. The market has been again in a comfortable bearish trend for a while, but looks like we're about to break structure to the upside. New Zealand yen has broken structure. Aussie yen not quite, but I do think we can still see price push on. So for Aussie yen, what I'm keeping my eye on would be if we can see price push down into this area, reject it well, and then focus on some buying opportunities from that level. Entries there, stops below, targets basically back at resistance there. So 95.5 would be the plan. So I think, of course, just basically in terms of distance, Aussie yen is a lot closer to that level. So the odds of me taking that trade are a lot higher. And again, I'm not looking to take them both either. If Aussie yen sets up, looks good, I'll just get in that and pretty much ignore New Zealand yen, and vice versa as well. But very, very bullish on both of them. I do think we can see a swing to the upside. I'm bearish on the yen as well. I've had a look at the yen basket this weekend. It's not looking too hot for it at all. I'm looking at the way price has been moving. First of all, it's a very corrective trend to the upside, which normally doesn't last. I have still been expecting price to take up the high, but we have just lost a lot of that momentum. We did come pretty close to doing it, to be honest, but we've lost a lot of momentum, and we've since broken out a pretty strong trend line too, which for me is a bit of a red flag there for the yen itself. And now we've been pretty consistent with these lower highs. So my thinking with the JPY basket is that we've had the double top there, lower high, lower high, lower high. Now my expectation is another lower high for another push down. So if the yen basket is going to have that type of move, then you're going to expect the other yen pairs to, of course, rally in the opposite direction. So yeah, potentially some yen weakness this week, which should provide some nice buying opportunities for pretty much all the yen pairs. Let me go through the DAX quickly. What's up, Alex? Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Yes, we can definitely take a look at oil for you. No problem. Of course, guys, any requests, let me know. Drop it in the chat. But yeah, the DAX is just gliding to the upside at this point now. Very, very bullish, breaking to the upside, and again, since we're at all-time highs, we can't necessarily look to the left and base structure, and what we can do here is just what we have in front of us, really, in terms of price, in terms of information at this price here. So yeah, I mean, I would say one thing: the DAX is looking a little bit more tired now. We have cleared highs, but we are a little bit corrective. No longer ripping to the upside. We did see some nice momentum over here, but that was quickly erased by that bearish candle. We came straight back down. So there's a clear sign to me that says, okay, yes, we're very bullish, but a top is probably going to form soon. Maybe not necessarily in terms of a big sell-off like that, but maybe a bit more of a pullback. And then we continue, of course. So yeah, very bullish on the DAX as a whole. I'm not really seeing an opportunity to trade it, to be honest. We're looking a little bit flat now. I mean, I suppose maybe a retest of the high here. That might provide a nice bounce. But like I said, we're moving in this channel now. Things are becoming a bit more corrective. Normally when I see price moving in an ascending channel or descending channel, that's the time I start to back away because I'm anticipating price to go through a bit of a sell. And then the buy is what I want to look to try and find if I do believe the trend is still going to continue, which for the DAX I do. So that would be something that would interest me. But as we move in this ascending channel, price action just becomes not as appealing to trade. Possibly could see a bounce there. We've got trendline confluence coming back into a major high, so 23,495 could provide a nice bounce potentially. But if it's me, again, looking for a big swing, I'm looking for the relief and the push up. And again, with the indices, it's always tricky to do that because it is a very bullish market, and out of nowhere, we can just have a big rally. So you might be waiting a while for that bigger pullback. But yeah, that's kind of the best I've got. If there is no setup there, I wouldn't really make one up. If there is in there, I'll let you guys know. And at the moment, possibly that, I would entertain it personally. I'll just wait to see if I can pull back because we just had a massive swing for the DAX and we've just taken our highs. I want price to relief anyway. And now that we're looking a bit fatigued and a bit corrective, I think the chance of that happening is now pretty high. And I say that, but it might not even happen till next week potentially. You might still kind of steadily push up and then maybe next week we fall. So you're going to have to be patient for something like that. But yeah, that's the best I've got with the DAX. Just the overall bullish market, but I'm expecting a pullback soon. In terms of oil, I haven't looked at oil since the weekend. Since Friday. Okay, we didn't really do too much since we last spoke. I believe we're probably trading around here. So I think the buys are still on for oil. We respect the support very well over there. Price, of course, since has put in some higher highs and higher lows. Low, high, low, high. Then you got the low there. If price was to come back down and respect support, I think that would be a great place to buy it back towards and take some profit there. My main level, like we've been saying for a while, is still that 66 level to see what we can do there. Massive area of support and resistance, and I would expect some big moves from that area, whether it's going to be price to come back into that level to respect it as resistance and we sell, or price rallies through the level and we use it as support for a buy. I have no idea. I mean, I'm expecting this to happen, but if this happens, I will be equally excited for that move as well, and I think a big move can happen. So it doesn't really matter what we expect. It's just, can we find a trade there? Can we take advantage of it? Those are the important questions. So yeah, with oil, I still do think a bit more upside is likely. Now, because price looks like it's failing at highs there, I think this could be a nice opportunity to take some buys back into resistance and then maybe back into 66. And then we'll go from there. We'll see how price reacts, whether we just break through or we start to maybe put a bit of a double top in, and that could invite some nice selling opportunities there. But for now, I would say keep an eye on 60. I think that could be a smart place for a buy. And maybe to take us back into that big level. What's up, Poppy? I've actually forgotten to mention that. Thank you for reminding me. But yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you're enjoying the content, want to see more of it. And of course, just to help the channel out, subscribe, like, it does push the content more. And of course, make sure you do hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But appreciate it, Poppy. If you guys are enjoying the content, drop a like. It does help out, and I do appreciate everyone who has liked so far. Okay, so we'll go through some more of the yen pairs. I haven't gone through US 30, have I? I'll go through US 30. Let me finish off the indices. Yeah, Yusuf, I'll go through some of the yen pairs now. I'll go for US 30 first and take a look at dollar yen for you. Is that on the 15-minute chart as well? Goal this week is to make a trade. Well, that's It's not the best goal, I would say, Poppy, because it could make you take a rubbish trade just because of the sake of taking a trade. So I think your goal should be taking a good trade. I mean, if you add good before trade, I think that would definitely make it a slightly better goal, because you don't want to take a trade just to take a trade. You know, you'd rather keep your money than lose it on something not necessarily. Okay, 50-minute price at 1 4. Okay, I'll take a look, Yusuf. Yeah, exactly. A rubbish trade is a trade. Okay, just by getting my feet wet. Okay, fair enough. If that's the case, if you want to get back in the groove of things, I can understand that as well. Okay, so US 30. This one is a little bit. If I go in the day chart, yeah, this one's not looking as good as well, as bullish, I should say, not necessarily as good, as bullish as the S&P and the NAS. But what I would say is that since the NAS and the S&P are looking very bullish, I do think both of them are likely to return back to their all-time highs. I do think there's a good chance that we're going to see US 30 do the same thing, essentially, because it's going to be a very interesting situation if US 30 is going to continue being bearish and you're going to see S&P and NAS continue being bullish. There will be times where they are in different kind of sequences, and maybe one's pretty bullish and one's consolidating or slightly bearish. But very rarely would they be trending in the opposite directions to one another. They might overall both, or all three of those major US indices be bullish, but maybe one is moving a lot faster or a lot slower than the others. So with US 30 being at a pretty nice area for a short, actually coming back into the 200, back into a nice area of supply there. This is of course the high that gave us this swing. I wouldn't actually be looking to sell here just because of what I'm seeing on the S&P and what I'm seeing on the NAS. Both of them look very, very bullish, and there's a strong likelihood that they get back to highs. So, I mean, US 30 might give us a drop, but I later do expect us to rally higher. So, from a 4-hour perspective, again, I think shorts do look good, but I'll keep it short term. It does look like S&P and NAS can see some downside as well, but I probably wouldn't take it past the low there. There is a gap we could potentially look to fill, but I wouldn't be too greedy. US 30 downside looks good, but I'll keep it short term because I do think we'll rally straight through. Okay, we'll go through USD next. I don't expect to make a profit after. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's a unique situation then, because of course you've had a lot of time off, so you're just trying to get back into the groove of things. Fair enough. I feel like that's probably a good goal to have, actually, just to get back into the rhythm of taking trades, managing trades, and not necessarily putting too much pressure or stress on yourself. So yeah, from that point of view, I can definitely see the logic there, and it does make sense, to be honest. Getting your feet wet again. In terms of dollar yen on the 15-minute time frame. So, I mean, I will analyze from the 4-hour as well, because I think that does hold some importance. But I will drop to the 15. So yeah, basically for dollar yen, I am still looking for a bullish swing for this one. I understand USD is looking pretty weak right now, so that's going to be a big hindrance. If dollar yen is going to move up higher, it's going to have to rely on yen being weaker than the USD for that to happen, or suddenly some dollar strength coming into play. But I still like the buys here for dollar yen. We've got these high lows, 1, 2, 3. I'm now looking for another one. I did say on my weekly analysis on the weekend, there's two areas where I'm looking for dollar yen to bounce from. This area being one and this area being another. Price can respect either one of these areas. I think they're smart places for a buy, of course. At the moment, it looks like price might be looking to go and break through that first area. If that's the case, then of course this will become the area of interest. Prior resistance, expecting it to be now acting as support and basically provide us the next higher low. And of course, if that's the case, it will take us back to resistance. Price is coming from a massive level on the weekly chart. You got really strong support there. First, second, that will be your third test. We potentially could see a big rally. The two previous times we've been here, we've seen some massive moves to the upside as well. So it's a pretty significant support level coming from. And we do have some bullish structure, which we can look to follow. Like I said, this area not really providing much support right now. Looks like we'll probably see a push into 144, but the goal is still very much that reversal. So dropping to the 15-minute chart, taking all that into consideration, looking for buys is what I'm interested on from the 15. I would also say sells look good. Maybe if we can have a bigger pullback into kind of like this territory where we had that drop. So if the 15 was to push into that, I feel like that would be a nice sell. As we do come lower, let me draw the level back in again. As we do come lower, perhaps back into this area, hopefully we stay nice and corrective. Maybe there might be a nice break of structure, and there could be some opportunities to take that higher. And some of these are the higher lows we're looking to try and catch on the 15, expecting it to see a lot more upside. But in the meantime, maybe we have a pullback, and I would argue that could be a really nice short opportunity as well. So I would keep an eye on that as well. Excuse the weird drawings there. But I would keep an eye on a setup like this as well. The market is pretty consistent with these lower highs. You have that swing there, nice push down, another swing there, nice push down. So potentially you could see a third one of those swings, and again another push down. But from a bullish standpoint, I do think the bigger move is to the upside and looking for reversals. But there is no bullish structure in the 15. If we're going to buy in the 15, we need to see some bullish structure, and that is definitely not the case. The market's still looking very bearish. So I would only be looking for sells, something like this, until I can see the market shifting. And then we can focus on something like this in the near future. You said you're looking for some shorts for dollar yen at 145.612. Okay, it's pretty much the area which I mentioned there as well. So I like the idea there, Yusuf. I would look more so around 145.8. But yeah, generally in that area, I think it's a smart place for a short. The market is still bearish, so sells make the most sense. Like I said, I do think the bigger move is to the upside, but from a 50-minute perspective, because the market's still bearish, I think shorts are still appropriate until we see the market shift and see some higher lows, which is not the case just yet. So I do like it. Miss Malone Euro pound buys would be in profit, but now looks bearish, double top with a lower high. Yeah, Euro pound's looking a little bit interesting. I was looking at this one last week. I do think, in fairness, there's a move to the upside for this one, but it's just very awkward, especially with the gap as well. Of how how this week started, a bit of a weird gap there to the upside. Could basically just summarize that as a consolidation. I did mention this one on the weekly analysis. I did say it would be nice if price can sell up a little bit further. I'm looking at this kind of big area of demand. We paused there briefly for a few days before price rallied to the upside pretty aggressively. I think that would be a nice place for a buy. So I said on the weekend, if price can stab into this level, I think that could be a really nice buy, because we're very flat right now. So a push down might go and stop out some early positions for potentially price to turn around. And because we have stayed relatively corrective throughout this bearish move, it does lead me to believe that this might be a pullback for price to continue higher. Now, I wouldn't look for a crazy swing here for euro pound. I don't think conditions are very friendly for that. But in terms of seeing these previous high lows, one, there's your high, two, there's your high. Now we're looking for a third. I think this is a very sensible place to be looking for a buy, at least looking for a bit of a spring to the upside. I won't expect something crazy, like a push back to the highs, but I do think we can see a bit of a rally, even if we are going to continue lower. So I think euro pound from that perspective is worthwhile. For me, I'm looking for entries on the 4-hour chart and really looking for momentum to shift. First things first, I wanted to test this area here, of course, but I want to see us give us a really strong rejection, turn around. That momentum is really shifting, buyers stepping into the market, sellers don't quite have enough juice to keep pushing price lower, and now we're about to turn around. If I could see something like that from euro pound, that would be great. And yeah, I'll be more than happy to try and take some buys off that, because I do think there's some upside here for euro pound, but just not a big fan of the pair as a whole. Yeah, so when there is setups with euro pound, I tend to be a little bit more cautious. Same thing for Aussie, New Zealand dollar as well. I do tend to be a bit more cautious, just because my best trades have occurred during trending conditions. So when things are not trend friendly, normally it's best for me to stay away. Sometimes they're good setups, but if it's not clear and obvious, I tend to stay away. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Andre, pound USD stronger. Yeah, pound's been pretty strong. Looks like DXY still seeing some weakness at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, so I can imagine pound USD still holding its strength. And it's really rallied back into resistance there. So yeah, pound is looking very strong right now. We've broken through the trend line there very well, and looks like we're about to push back into resistance there. So now it's up to pound USD in terms of what we do at the resistance level, because yes, things are looking very bullish now as we head back into resistance, but that can change very quickly. You know, this is still a very big level in the market which rejected us. Over here we had a massive sell-off from there, so it's not a small level. Yes, momentum looks pretty bullish right now, but that can disappear pretty quickly. If we were to break through, that's pretty pivotal as well, and that could mean a lot more upside in the future as well. But again, trading's all about reacting to what price is doing. Yes, we're very bullish right now, but we're coming back into resistance, so it doesn't necessarily mean much right now. If this momentum was above the level, well, that would be pretty significant. But we're looking very bullish coming into major resistance. It's kind of like the unstoppable force hits the unstoppable or unmovable object. You know, it depends who's going to win this battle. Is the resistance going to stop price, or is price going to break through the resistance? And then we can plot ideas from there. But yeah, we are looking very strong right now. So we'll see how that continues. But if I compare that to euro, for example, euro is, of course, had a strong close in the 4-hour chart there, but not really anything significant. I mean, euro's high is all the way up there. Pound is very, very close to it. So pound has been a lot stronger than euro as a whole. And of course, we can see that with euro pound's price action heading down. But yeah, I would keep an eye on euro, because there's upside for this one as well. I do think there's a big move to be had. It's just difficult to find an entry for it, to be honest. But yeah, pound is definitely looking very bullish at the moment. Poppy, yeah, the buys look less attractive than they did on Friday. Yeah, I agree. The trade the trade alarm I placed was bang on perfect place to buy. It's encouraging. Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to take some time to get into the rhythm of anything. Just like any situation, like playing the guitar, for example. If you haven't played the guitar in ages, months, it's going to take you time to get back up to the flow of things and playing it well. You're going to miss a few chords here and there, and I don't play the guitar, so I don't really know the ins and outs, but you understand the point. So with anything, it will take time to get to speed. I know if I was to take months off trading, I wouldn't jump back into trading my normal size. I would definitely lower risk and ease myself back into it. Because as much as trading is a skill set, it's also a mental game as well. And if you're not mentally on point, confident, sharp, very easy just to make silly mistakes and not be switched on, and the market will punish you because of that as well. So taking your time to get back up to speed of things is a smart move, I would suggest. Because a lot of people just eager just to get right back into things, and that can be a bit of a detriment sometimes, especially if you've taken months off as well. It's not like a week off. A week off, I'll probably just continue to trade as normal. A month off, maybe I might continue to trade as normal, but anything more than 1 month, I would definitely want to ease into that and get up to speed of things. But yeah, in terms of the rest of the yen pairs, we talked briefly. Oh, I'm in the complete wrong place. We talked briefly about pound yen. I think there's some upside to be had with this one, but it's not on the watch list for me, simply because I'm not a big fan of the setup in terms of risk reward and how things are shaping up. I'll take a look at that in a second, Yusuf. Okay, money is super small. Yeah, but no, it's not necessarily the money, Poppy. I'm just talking about the rhythm, to be honest. Of course, if it was a big account, then definitely. But even with a small account too, because at the end of the day, it's still an account. If you lose a small account, you're gonna have to deploy more money to have another account, even if it is small. You're still gonna have to refund the account if you go and lose it unnecessarily. So small or big doesn't really matter. Of course, big, you want to have extra caution there, but same thing with small accounts as well. The money necessarily isn't the issue because it's not life changing, but it's still, if you lose the account, you're gonna have to fund another account as well, and it just wastes time really. So it's the trading that's the main part as well, because even if it is a small account, you haven't been trading in months, you won't be sharp at all. You won't be, in sync with the market. So you're gonna have mistakes as well. Use of your USD testing the neckline of the head and shoulder. Okay, I think I know what you mean. So yeah, I'll go through pound yen first, and then take a look at euro. Small accounts are easy to burn, of course. The funny thing is, with small accounts being easy to burn, you'd be surprised how many people burn a lot of small accounts, but the sum of the small accounts could actually equate to potentially a large account. If you have 500 here, 500 there, 500 here, 500 there, if you do that 20 times, that's actually a 10K account, which is actually something you can do something with. But if you keep burning all these 500 accounts, yeah, it's a small account, but over time you could actually have deployed a decent sized account there and actually built something with that. So although small accounts are easy to burn because you're not going to change your life with $500 or $100, but over time they can definitely stack up if you keep burning through them. So at the end of the day, you don't want to lose any account because money's still money. Even if it is $100, you can go and spend that on yourself and treat yourself to something for $100, or whatever you want to do with it. So although it's easy to burn, you don't want to burn it. Um, Alessio, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Are all the charts on the 4 hour time frame? No, I will go through multiple time frames because the elevating traders logo hide time frame. The time frame is on the backdrop. The the market and the time frame is always in the center of the screen there. It will have the different time frames. So that's 4 hour. Yeah, that's daily there. No worries, no worries. Um, oh, you never burnt an account? Okay, nice. Never will. I wouldn't forgive myself. I know you're harsh on yourself, Poppy. Um, yeah. I mean, do you think I've lost a big chunk of account. I've never actually blown an account before. I've never got a margin call before. I've always been very cautious with risk. I think I'm a bit more conservative, just by nature. To be honest, there's nothing special. It's not like I'm just very good with my risk. It's just I'm a bit more conservative. I don't want to lose money. So I've never actually got a margin call. I've never blown an account, even in my early days as well. I've lost huge chunks of accounts, of course, like 70, 80%, which is pretty much almost blowing it. But I think just because of my nature, I'm just a bit more conservative. I don't bet big. Yeah, so you don't want to burn small accounts because they're easy to, because you're like, okay, I can just replace it. But like I said, you replace that again and again, especially over years as well, because you'd be surprised. People be trading for like 2, 3, 4 years, and all the small accounts that they've burned and gone through, if you stack them up over the past 2, 3 years, it could actually turn into a pretty decent sized account there. And you know, because they're small, they're okay to make mistakes and treat it without much seriousness. But if they were to add all those small accounts together over the past few years or how long you've been trading and put it into one account, you probably would be pretty serious with the size of the capital. So you'd be surprised with that. No problem, no problem. Happy to help. I'll go through Euro USD before I forget. I'm just going to go through Pound Yen. I'll go through Euro for you, Yusuf. Of course, any other requests, let me know. Put it in the chat, and we will go through it. Kojo, elevator traders, balance based or equity based prop, please put the link below. Well, you can go to the elevator traders website and it will have all the FAQs and all the rules and explanation for all the rules for each challenge there, so you can find all the information there. But the one step is relative drawdown, so it does follow your highest balance, not equity, your highest balance. So, if you go up 5%, the max drawdown will trail with that. The 2-step and the 3-step don't trail, and it's based on balance as well. So, the max drawdown will stay the max drawdown throughout the challenge, and it's of course based on your balance. But of course, if your equity was to drop below the max, that would still be a loss as well, because of course you're losing more than the max drawdown. So, but it's based on your balance. But of course, if your equity was to drop below the max, that would still be a fail, and that's for all challenges. But like I said, go to the website. We'll have all the information there for you. Just elevatingtraders.com. Anyway, so yeah, in terms of pound yen, we're in a nice area of demand here where we can potentially rally back to the highs, which is 196.5. So that's what I'm looking at here for pound yen. The reason why I don't like pound yen is because we're fairly close to major resistance on our left here. I like it when we're a bit further away from these kind of bearish areas, because if the market is going to put a lower high in, this is kind of where it would happen, and that wouldn't give me much room to profit from. Maybe if I was on like an hourly chart, I could probably have a bit more fun with there, but most of my executions these days are on the 4-hour chart. It just gives me a bit more time, to be honest. So I like the 4-hour time frame. So there's not a lot of distance between current price and that kind of area of resistance there. So for that reason, I'm kind of staying away from pound yen, but doesn't defeat the fact that I still do expect this to happen. It's just the risk reward is not what I want to see. Like I've said, Aussie yen looks a little bit better for me. I'm looking at buys for this one back into resistance, and New Zealand yen looks a lot better for me as well. So I'm looking at buys back into resistance too. So these are the two yen pairs I like a little bit more because there's a bit more room here, especially if I can get this set up. We'll see, but those two yen pairs look really, really good. So I'm very interested in the buys there. And again, expecting weakness on the yen itself. In terms of Euro USD for Yusuf, they talked about the retest for the neckline. I believe you're talking about this level here. If I'm mistaken, please let me know. But yeah, we are coming back into an area where we could sell. So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, this is a very pivotal area for me for Euro, because if we can hold this, I think this is a great place to be looking for some shorts, and potentially you could still see the continuation lower. You know, I've been expecting Euro to get back to areas like such, 1.095. Then potentially from here, we might continue on our bullish journey. We've been putting in some lower highs previously. We had the high over there, then the lower high, then the next one. Now potentially we might form another one here as well. As we push back into resistance, perhaps we could see a double top here form. So that could be the case. You know, DXY is in a similar situation as well, where we could see a double bottom form. Of course, looking pretty bearish right now, but that still potentially could happen. Our candle's still got 2 hours left. We could still pull back, leave a big wick there. So things can change. Of course, the other side of the coin is that we don't respect this area and we just continue to rally straight through. Of course, if that's the case, I would back away and be a bit cautious there. At that point, we probably are going to push back to highs, really. But yeah, we are testing that neckline of this kind of weird head and shoulder pattern on the left here. So this is the neckline of that pattern, and we're coming to test it now. So yeah, if we can hold this, I think it's a great place for a sell, especially for entries maybe in the 4 hour or the hourly chart. I think look good. I probably wouldn't go lower than that. But I think we're in a great place for a sell. But again, price action is going to invite us into the trade. If momentum just keeps going and we keep seeing a lot of momentum, well, there's no invitation into the trade. So I would stay away from that. If I can see some wicks, a strong bearish engulfing candle, well, that's price inviting me into the trade, telling me that, okay, resistance is likely to hold here. So that's my time to execute and take a sell. But yeah, good spot. We are coming back into resistance. But whether price is going to hold that level or break through, you know, price is going to be the decider of that, and then we can react to what price is giving us. So far, it's still resistance, so could still see a sell. But again, we have to see a lot of momentum turn around here, because DXY can't keep being this bearish if we're going to hold that resistance. DXY is going to have to turn around and see some strong bullish pressure. Let me check the news for the week. Ooh, okay, so we got Aussie interest rate decision tomorrow. Early hours of the morning. Well, not that early. It's still pretty early. 5:30 in the morning, UK time. So I need to watch out for that. Rates are expected to drop, so probably means some weakness for Aussie, but we'll see. It's not always as straightforward as that. CPI for CAD tomorrow, 1:30 UK time. Anyone trading CAD, probably keep an eye on that. Wednesday, inflation rate for pounds. Inflation is supposed to go up 7 a.m. in the morning. Rest of the day, nothing major. Thursday, early hours, well, midnight actually. Aussie PMI. I'll keep an eye on that. I am looking to trade Aussie this week. I am currently trading Aussie as well. Thursday, a lot of PMI for Euro, PMI for Pound again. Initial jobless claims for the dollar. PMI for dollar as well, 130. So a lot of news on Thursday actually. Thursday's the day to probably keep an eye on. And then Friday, inflation rate for yen and retail sales for CAD. So not such a crazy week this week. There's definitely a few news events to keep an eye on. I think Thursday's the busiest day. Interest rates for Aussie will be interesting as well. But nothing too crazy this week. In terms of the dollar anyway, PMI for dollar could be interesting, but apart from that, not much. But I think, yeah. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. But at the moment, USD is looking pretty bearish. So we need something to give us the catalyst for that to turn around if the dollar is going to be bullish, of course. If not, it could be looking at a bearish week, but we'll have to wait and see. I am long-term bearish on the dollar, but I'm just not seeing an opportunity to actually trade that. So for now, just staying cautious. But let me have a look at some of the other USD pairs. So Aussie dollar pushing higher. So again, you can see we're kind of just operating in this channel, but altogether, it's just not clear-cut in terms of a solid trade. Momentum looks very corrective. I don't want to follow this ascending channel. Ascending channels is not something I look to follow. It's something where I would anticipate price to potentially reverse or have a bigger pullback. So yeah, and the USD, however, I do like. This is a nice kind of weird corrective pullback, if you will. We've got massive resistance just below us, which hopefully could be turned as support. I'm looking to see if price can come back and retest that level, and that's what I'm looking to see if I can find some entries, take back into resistance, and hopefully further as well. New Zealand CAD's been a pair which I've been looking at a lot the past few weeks too for a buy. I'm just been wondering, have I missed the opportunity? It's been a very sideways move, to be honest, so hasn't really set the market alight. But then the thing with consolidation is that, eventually it's going to break out, and then it's probably going to be a decent move there as well. But in terms of taking a buy, I want price to push back into support, really. That's really what I'm waiting for, because then I'll be able to get a nice entry in a smart location with a probably nice stop loss placement below the low, maximize my risk reward, position myself well, and then take advantage of a push to the upside and maybe a breakout as well. So that's kind of the best place for me to enter. The question is, will we see price revisit that support level? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Difficult to say, but if we do, I'll make sure I'm ready there and waiting to strike if I can see the necessary confirmations to get into a trade. But New Zealand CAD is definitely on the watch list. I think I'll probably say the three pairs I like the most this week is Aussie yen buys. So basically looking for another pullback and along there. New Zealand yen buys, pretty much the same idea as Aussie yen, but I'm just going to see which one gives me a better setup. So the same thing there, swing back to resistance, and New Zealand CAD buys. I would say those are the three I like the most. USD pairs just not playing ball right now. I've been looking for a bit more USD strength for a bigger pullback. So yeah, not really seeing if I'll trade USD this week. JPY, like I said, Aussie, New Zealand yen look good. At the moment, I'm trading pound Aussie, but that's not going too well at the moment. Still seeing a lot of pound strength. I mean, it's still just about holding on to resistance, but going to need price to really shift and turn around if we're going to see price respect that area. I've got my stop loss above the high, so I'm happy with that. But we're going to see how that resistance holds. CHF pairs, I don't mind Aussie CHF to the upside, to be honest. Maybe a double bottom could entice me into a trade, because I still do think Aussie CHF can make its way back to this consolidation. That's where all the momentum came from. And since we're coming from all-time lows, I do think price is likely to return back into that kind of area. So something like this could definitely tempt me into a trade. But you can see a lot of my trades are stemmed around from buying Aussie or buying entities. So I'm actually kind of expecting strength in those two currencies. So that's kind of the way I'm looking to plan things. But yeah, Aussie CHF buys I like as well. So I'll probably say those are my favorite pairs. I had some USD pairs on this week, but with the momentum we're seeing right now, that skewed things. So we'll see if things change. But at the moment, I quite like those pairs right now. So we'll see how they get on. At the moment, in pound Aussie, but hopefully we can add some more trades this week. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do hope each and every one of you has found it useful, enjoyed it, entertaining, informative. If that's the case, please do me a favor and smash the like button. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You want to see more of the content. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future as well. No, I don't use limit orders. Use it for only market execution. I only take my trades live when a candlestick's close. Not that I'm against using limit orders. You can do that. It's just I don't really have any experience with it. I've never really tried to test that idea out. Basically, since I was introduced to trading, I've always used market execution, always taking buys and sells when the candle closes at the live current price. Yeah, if I'm away from the chart, if I'm sleeping, if I'm not there, then so be it, pretty much. Because I need to see rejection. I can't justify rejection. I can't place an order at a level, even if I think price is going to bounce there. I need to see price get there and react with the level, and that's what gives me a good trade. Because not only is price at a healthy support or resistance, but we are showing signs of rejection, and that justifies a trade. If I put a limit there, I don't have that component of rejection. So there is just no trade. Well, yeah, there is no trade. But if I'm not there anyway, then I'm not there to take the trade. You know, there's more than enough opportunities in the market. I don't need to always be there for a trade. Even with me trading on the 4-hour chart, I know you folks a bit more on the 15, which will give you even more opportunities than me. But there's still more than enough opportunities in the market. So if I'm not there, if I'm asleep or away, I'm asleep or away. I wanna see the live price and see how things are looking and make that judgment in real time. Again, that's not to say that limit orders don't work. You can make them work, but just based on how I trade, I only use market execution. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Check out the Discord. It's linked in the description below, also at the top of the chat, so you definitely can't miss out on that. Go check it out. You can find updates there, chat with other traders, share your own ideas. I share some of my ideas there as well and discuss different opportunities. So check it out. Free to join, linked in the description below. But guys, I will be live again tomorrow. As always, I'm live every day this week. Every weekday this week, Monday to Friday. So 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. If you're free, pop in, come say hi, and have a chat with us. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.